Marshall, let me know when we're ready to roll.
I think we're ready. Tina, did you want to share? Let me share my screen.
Let me know when we're ready to roll.
Wow. You are now live. What did you need me to share?
I didn't know if you, I sent you the agenda. I didn't know if you wanted to be the one to share that, or if you wanted me to.
No, I normally just follow along with the agenda. Alderman Roberson gave me some other documents to have ready.
Okay, I'll tell you what, do you mind sharing, I guess, sharing what you have for this, for the purpose of the agenda? Mm-hmm. Mark, we'll get that up on the screen, Mark.
All righty.
And obviously, Mark, if we need to rearrange kind of what.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. Yeah, we probably do. Wow, we really have an agenda tonight. Okay. What we'll do is if there's no discussion or there's no issue, and we certainly can debate it, we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. The July 28th, 2020. It is now 4:37. On our agenda, we have actually, if you would like, we will go ahead and dispense with the previous meeting minutes of our last meeting, and we'll go on to the agenda. But if there is no discussion, I want to move the ordinance 2020-24 to the first and bring recycling down to the second. So that would be the Kozloff property. We'll discuss first, and then recycling will go into second, if there's no objection. Probably an ideal thing to do. Hearing no objection, we'll go ahead and do that. Is everyone in agreement with the previous meeting minutes? We'll go ahead and dispense with those minutes, and we'll address that at our next meeting. Everybody good?
Yes, sir.
Committee good with that?
I'm good.
Okay, thank you. All right, we'll go ahead. Let me, Eddie, Alderman Roberson is here, as well as Alderman Campbell. So we have a full committee this evening. Just a couple, I think I saw Mayor Clary. I think is here this evening as well.
Chairman, I'm here. I'm just moving around.
Okay, no problem. Not a problem. I thought I saw you, but I wasn't sure. Okay, thank you. It's good to see you. And what we'll do is we'll go ahead and talk about that. Let me ask everybody, who is all here for the Kozloff property issue, right quick?
John DeLong is here.
Hi, John.
Hi.
Duke is here.
I'd like to hear it.
All right, good to see everybody. Just want to make sure that we've got everybody that is here, that was at our previous meetings. Okay. Just for the rest of the property, or for the information for the property, just briefly now, Marshall, do you want to just kind of go over with what we're here for, to remind everybody, and maybe some of the committee members may not know what's going on. So if you could just briefly identify what this is about, we'll get the committee members and I will get on with discussion.
Yeah, I'll do my best to give a kind of a brief overview of kind of what we're dealing with. What we have before us is the Kozloff property. This is at the end of Walton Ferry Road, in the back of the Lake Harbor subdivision. There's a piece of property that the city abandoned several years ago. I think it was 2-3 years ago. The city brought before them a decision to abandon an old an old right-of-way that once was a road, and we took no interest in that and abandoned anything we had to do with that property in an effort to try to help the residents of Lake Harbor and the campground owners resolve the property dispute. And so, and since that happened, I know we've met about it a couple times and discussed that. And I think what has happened now is the owners of the campground property, Kozloffs, have pursued getting a surveyor to survey their property, and the HOA for Lake Harbor has done that as well. And so the city is kind of at a position now we're really trying to facilitate between the HOA for Lake Harbor and the Kozloff family to try to resolve the property dispute. And I'm imagine I'm probably left something out, but that's kind of my recollection.
Okay, I agree with that. I'm familiar with that. Okay, committee members, we'll go ahead and open up the committee for discussion on this issue. If anybody, the floor is open.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
so both parties have went out and had surveys done on this piece of property. That's my understanding.
Mhm.
Yes, that is correct. Yes.
Have the two surveyors had a chance to get together and discuss their findings?
I don't know. Are the two surveyors here tonight? I thought I saw one.
Bruce Rainey is here. Mr. Chairman.
Okay. And is the other surveyor here yet? Is the other surveyor here this evening?
In light of this information, sir, since we've just received the survey from, I guess, the other party, I would like to see us just defer this entire issue to a special called public works meeting and allow the two surveyors to get together and see if they can't come up to a solution regarding the division of this piece of property, a proper ownership, and come back to our committee with their findings, because this is a civil issue and it's coming into City Hall. We really need to let their two surveyors see if they can work it out among themselves and then bring the results back to us, if it even needs to come to City Hall to divide that property. So I'd like to make a motion that we defer it for weeks, at least allow them to have a time to get together, the surveyors, and then have a special call public works meeting to address strictly this issue.
I second the motion.
Okay. Okay, there's been a motion. I tell you what I want to do. First of all, make everybody, if everybody can if you can mute your on your little there, thank you, because it's hard for everybody to, apparently we're having some problems with the cable, and it's hard to understand the people that speak. Okay, there's been a motion and a proper second. Yeah, I know there's no discussion on this, but Bruce, have you had, let me ask you a quick, your motion is well taken, Pat. Let me ask you a quick question, Bruce, Mr. Rainey. You all haven't discussed with the surveyor, both of you surveyors have not discussed this issue, right?
No, sir, we have not. I have completed my report, surveyor's report. I am initially not in agreement with the exhibit provided to me. It was not classified as a survey, but as an exhibit. And I disagree with the exhibit, as it does not portray what the deeds call for.
Okay. Well, would you be open to meeting with their surveyor to go over the issue? Because certainly the city of Hendersonville wants to do what's in, the best interest of both parties. And we're certainly not gonna do any otherwise. I mean, we're just not. Not this committee anyway, I can assure you of that. So would you be open to meeting with their surveyor and to see if there can maybe you guys can come to an agreement?
Yes, sir. I'll be glad to call the surveyor and meet with them wherever.
Okay.
Hey, Chairman Skidmore, can I ask you a question real quick?
Yes.
I'm a little bit confused. Is the attachment that we got a few minutes ago, Bruce, is that the same thing that you saw a couple weeks ago that is not a boundary survey?
That is correct.
So you've seen this before. We've had it for a little while. It is not a boundary survey.
No, sir, it is not.
And we need a boundary survey. You perform a boundary survey, is that correct?
I did, for sure, for sure,
Okay.
sure.
So this attachment, I think so this attachment doesn't refute what you've said. It's not even what we've been asking for. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
All right, there's been a motion and a second. No discussion among the, I've done a lot here that I've kept y'all, and I appreciate the committee because I've gone a long leeway here and that I shouldn't have, but I do appreciate you this evening on this. This is your motion's well taken, Pat. This is a serious issue among the committee members. We want to resolve this. The city wants to help resolve it any way that we can. But I personally think that this is just a committee. This issue needs to be a special called meeting, just as you said. And that way we can talk about it all night long, and we'll get our calendars together, Marshall and myself, this evening, or preferably probably tomorrow morning, and see when we can call for this for a special called meeting. And that's what we'll do. Is everybody ready to vote?
Mr. Skidmore, would it be possible for me to make a quick comment?
Yes, just quickly. Yes, sir.
Okay. So the other members of the committee may not understand some of the sense of urgency of this with respect to the property tax issue that we're all facing. And that's part of why we asked the mayor and the city attorney and John Isbell to speak with us last week, and eventually got this on the agenda for today for you guys, is because in around September, early October of this year, the county is going to start tax assessments for 2020. And at that point, according to John Isbell, all taxes paid 2 years prior in 2018 will no longer be refundable to the citizens, the residents that paid those taxes, which is everybody that has land adjoining this. So essentially what that means is that about $600 worth of tax money we're all going to lose at the end of September. The mayor, feeling as if he could sign these quick claim deeds and having the support of the board, would give John Isbell and the assessor's office the ability to redeed that property and save us that tax money. And just one last thing, just to give you an idea, if the quick claim deeds were approved as they are, which is basically just extending our property to the center line of what this abandoned road was, there's no resident in Lake Harbor that would get any more than 3/100ths of an acre of property, and we've been taxed on 1.3 acres of property. So essentially, I paid $600 for what I should have paid $9.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm gonna
Okay.
lose that.
Okay, can I jump? Can I jump really quick? This is on behalf of Ms. Kosloff. Our attorney did reach with the preliminary survey to Mr. Rainey. However, there was no response from Mr. Rainey from the other side. We didn't hear nothing from the attorney or from the other side to even discuss the issue. Number one. Number two, we do have boundary survey. It's registered in Gallatin Courthouse. You're welcome to check on it. So we do have our due diligence. We did our due diligence as far as, doing the survey and, register the survey. So there's no point to vote on nothing today until that issue is resolved. However, my issue with the whole situation is that this ordinance previously has been addressed and decided being a private matter of adjoining property owners by ordinance in May 2017. You are asked right now to vote on an opinion by a local survey company working directly with the developer and the local homeowners paid by developer. In this case, the surveyor right now prepare a quick claim deeds for adjoining property owner, not based on a boundary survey, but on a personal interpretation of the history of the property. And the survey, as far as we can tell, the survey is not registered.
Yeah, well, okay, and yeah,
the
we
last
understand that.
Okay, well,
think that's why
I
that-
just don't want this, okay, I don't mind our survey meeting with the survey, but as far as I can tell, that is a private matter, and I don't know why the city actually put, why the city attorney putting city in that kind of dilemma. You know, it's
Right.
become a political, it's become a personal, you know, it's not based on the facts.
Well,
Mr. Chairman,
But
Here-
however, let me just do this.
hold on,
Our
Mr. Campbell.
survey right now, while we're speaking, is waiting in the waiting room right here to have her voice heard. So
Well,
Yeah.
that's not up to that lady or whomever. It's up to the committee. We've had a proper motion and a proper second, and I mean no disrespect to you. But here's the thing. It would be better if we have a committee meeting, a special call meeting that deals only with this issue, because we're we're doing this on Zoom right now. We've got an agenda that's a mile long. And it's my duty as the chairman to keep the committee moving along as quickly as possible and try to get these issues. We want you to be heard. Now always remember that. And we're going to do that with a special call meeting where there's nothing else that can be discussed except this issue. We've
Okay,
got
that-
one
and
new
that- and
committee
that's-
member and actually two. And so,
and
well,
that's all
one
we're
actually
asking
with
for.
that camera.
We're asking for a fair hearing.
that's exactly right. And that's what we're going to give you. That's what we're going to do. We're going to give you that. That is your right and you're owed that. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this off. And what we're going to do is we're going to get our calendars together, and then we're going to call for a special called meeting to deal only with this issue. And then that way we can talk all night long about it.
Right.
So that
Well,
I
I
would
just- I
much
just- I
rather
just have
have
a-
that than.
Right.
than-
I just have one important question.
No, I call for the question, Mr.
Okay.
Chairman.
say,
All right.
it's
Okay,
time
there's been a question.
move
and then call
forward.
for it.
All
Is everybody, is everyone ready to vote?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
I hate to run this through like this, but it's in the best interest of both parties. I'm telling you. I know you don't think it is right now, but it is. So we're ready to vote. All in favor, and then we have a voice called vote. All in favor of putting this off to our special called meeting, signify by saying aye. And then when I call you know the routine. When I call your name, speak yes or no. Alderman Campbell. Okay, Alderman Campbell, you're mute.
Aye. Sorry about
All right.
that.
Alderman Roberson.
Aye.
Okay, and the chair votes aye as well. So what we've done is we've referred this to a special call meeting. It's all over. And then what we'll do is the city will call you guys. And then Bruce, if you want to call their surveyor and see if you all can get together and have some more information for us. But we're going to put it on as soon as we can because we want to get this resolved. It's in the best interest of everybody. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you. Your last name, I have a hard trouble, sir. I'm sorry. Mr. Majeko or something like that. And I apologize for that. I should know better, but I don't know. So anyway, we'll get in touch with you as soon as we get our calendars together. And then we'll resolve this issue at a special call meeting where there won't be anything else discussed. And we'll be there all night if it's necessary. So that's what we've got. So, but thank you all for coming and I appreciate you all taking the time out this evening to come. All right. Thank you all. Thank you very, very much. All right. Our next on the agenda is the recycling program. Mr. Roberson, you want to talk about that?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Tina, can you put on the PowerPoint presentation, please, for the recycling. This is on resolution 2020-37. As Tina is putting on the PowerPoint presentation, I don't know if any of you ever go to Kentucky and horse race, but there's a term in horse racing that I've tried and tried. I've never won. It's called a trifecta. A trifecta, for those that aren't aware, is where you pick the first, second, and third horse in a race. And the odds are very rare that that would happen. I've never won a trifecta, but I want to give you the possibility in a public policy tonight committee to be able to vote on a winning trifecta for public policy. And the three candidates up that we are evaluating on the recycling resolution that's before you is, first, is it good for residents? Is it good for the city? And third, is it good for the environment? So for this trifecta to be successful, each of those have to be a winner. So let's go to the second slide, please, Tina. And I don't know, I may be able to control this myself. Yes, I can. Thank you. So I've put a little background through, but as many of you know, recycling has been before this board in the past. This board has taken, I think, some very progressive steps to evaluate recycling in the city. We have a solid waste and recycling citizens committee, and a couple of those committee members are going to speak after this short presentation. We've done a recycling pilot program in neighborhoods in every wards that was very successful. And so here's just a little history of the recycling that's been before us. I let the board know several weeks ago, or maybe a couple of months ago, that I was interested in moving this matter forward. And I had a couple of board members say, well, let's wait till after the budget. So that's why we're bringing it up now. At the present time, there are two contractors that provide curbside recycling in the city. As you know, the landfills where the city trash is going is nearing capacity. The cost to the city for depositing trash in landfill is increasing. And so let's look at how this particularly affects, well, we put a bid out, and I don't know if you can see the bid. Tina, I've lost control of it. A little too much technology for me. But the bids were sent out, and there were two companies that listed the bid, that listed for a curbside recycling volunteer program. And Green Village, the local provider, was by far the least expensive bid. They put a bid for $10 and we're right at $11 for the first 5,000. It's 5,000 customers. Let me go to the next slide, please, Tina. So let's evaluate how this is good for residents. First of all, residents will still have the option for services and providers. If the board grants the low bid to Green Village, customers with other providers there's no exclusivity. There's no franchise agreement that's going to be entered with Green Village that would prevent other providers from competing with their bid. The volunteer program option is an agreement between residents and Green Village. So if the customers are unhappy with Green Village, they can cancel the service at any time. The provider, Green Village, would also bill the customers. The city would not have anything to do with the billing. Again, citizens wishing to not participate in recycling are free to do so without cost. Only the customers that would be participating would be paying the cost, the lowered cost for the curbside twice a month pickup. The volunteer option that I'm proposing in Resolution 37 provides city residents wishing to participate a 56% drop in the price that they are currently paying for twice a month curbside recycling service. It would drop from $25 to $10.95. Again, that's a 56% drop. I've been told by Green Village that they have a little over 800 customers in Hendersonville, with many in each ward. So that means your constituents that presently use Green Village would see a 56% drop in their bill for the volunteer option for curbside recycling. And the cost to customers would decline as more customers are added. For sure, it makes recycling more affordable. So I think in the part of the trifecta, I think the residents of who we are the most concerned with come out a winner. The next slide, and I don't have control of this, I'm sorry.
That's
Tina,
okay.
All right, Tina, there's a graph of the $25, and with the low bid, their bill would drop to $10, and I think it's 95 cents a month for twice a month service. So next, let's, Tina, at how it would affect the city. And I believe here it is good for the city because, first of all, there is no cost. Let me repeat, no cost to the city for the volunteer option. No taxes are used. None are used to support this program. It's customer funded. Even the roll carts and the billing is provided by the city. And last but not least, if more customers take advantage of the lower price for the volunteer option, it would save the city money. So instead of costing the city, it would save the city money in the tipping fees that we presently pay for garbage, meaning that it would take a load off of the garbage and put it more in recycling. So for sure, the second leg of the trifecta, I believe that it's a win for the city. And third, the next slide, please, Tina. It's good for the environment. It has the potential of reducing solid waste to landfills. It will help save natural resources by recycling. And under the law of supply and demand, the reduced rate is likely to encourage more residents to recycle, which would be a win for the environment. So for sure, in my mind, it's a trifecta for the city, for residents, and for the environment. Next slide, please, Tina. I have talked to the mayor of Springfield, Tennessee. They have a similar program to the volunteer option that we're looking at. And this is a quote from her when I talked to her. She said, the volunteer recycling program is working in Springfield. The company is great and the customers love it. In fact, they just renewed a contract with Green Village to continue this program of a volunteer option. So, Mr. Chairman, that's all I have on the program. I'll be glad to discuss any questions that the committee members or other members of BOMA have, but there are two members of the Solid Waste Committee, I think Ms. Floyd and Ms. Burns, that would like to say regarding this program, if you allow them to speak.
Sure. Ms. Burns, you were just on here.
Yeah.
Oh, there you are, right in front of me. I couldn't see. It's good to see you. You need to unmute yourself. So how are you doing this evening? How are you doing this evening? You're back muted. Yeah, you need to unmute yourself.
Mute.
There you go. You're perfect. That's perfect.
Okay.
Right there.
All right. Well, I'm a missing y'all.
Well, I know we miss you. We look for you.
Well, seriously, I'm here to support what Eddie Roberson is proposing. And that might come as a shock because clearly I'm not a horse race type of person, but this is kind of a pony ring. And I'm supporting putting the kid on the pony to take a little ride. I have not changed my point of view on what I feel is best for our city. What I feel is best for our city would be curbside recycling once a week, like the rest of the world. And people will adjust to that. However, there's been a real rude awakening this year called COVID-19. And it's causing serious problems in a lot of our businesses in the city. Now, as a person thinking of the financial end, I think that the city has great concerns regarding our financial base. So I am willing to shift my position to support, at least we got a horse in some kind of an arena. Am I making sense? You're not smiling, Mark.
No, I am. I'm trying to, the Zoom thing, we have a lot of people in our audience tonight, which I'm grateful for. So I'm just trying to scan and make sure who's next. So don't worry about that.
I want to support what Mr. Roberson is bringing forward because I think that that is our best option at the moment. It is not what it is that I feel is good for the environment. I think stronger, more recycling is better for the environment. I think it needs to become routine and people need to learn. But I'm willing to take the baby on a pony ride. And sorry to smash your trifecta, but I had a friend that used to race horses as well. And we're in a pony ring, but I'm supporting, this. We need to do this to have those that still think, well, maybe we should only recycle every 2 weeks. They've got to learn that recycling becomes a way of life. And for me, it already is. And eventually people will see that those that are growing up, this is what they're growing up into. Those landfills, they really are getting full. And I don't ever want to have to come to a city meeting and say, gee, where are we going to put the landfill? We have a couple of nice areas that are big open spots, but they're parks. And I want to keep them that way. So I think that people need to get very serious. Recycling needs to be supported. I'm going to be looking for letters to the editors. I'm going to be looking for aldermen that will support this on public media. It needs, for it to work at all, it needs to have political will. And one of the reasons I'm willing to support this pony ride instead of a trifecta is I don't see the political will in our city to support anything that costs any money. I think those people will learn in the meantime. So, and I want to say that anything good that I can say about Green Village, I have had their service for quite a few years now, and they're outstanding. And they're very punctual, they're very neat, and they're very on time. And I really appreciate that. But I don't have any real questions about Mr. Roberson's proposal. I don't know where Debbie is right now. I thought she was going to be here and would speak first. But I'm basically saying what the committee will be saying is that we do support Mr. Roberson's proposal.
All right. Well, thank you,
I'm
Ms.
glad
Burns.
Glad
ahead,
to take any questions.
Yeah. Do have any questions for Ms. Burns? Does any of the committee members have any questions on this issue about recycling at this point? Yes, sir, Alderman Campbell.
As many people that we have here that support recycling, I have people telling me they will turn a recycling can into a garbage can. So that is a fact. if you'd like me to have them come to City Hall and tell you that, I will bring them to City Hall and have them tell you that.
We did get,
So it's not a done deal across the board with everyone. I realize you're right. The people of Hendersonville do have issues with cost. That's the main thing. It's just that since you brought up cost, I realize it's no cost, no tax increase, which is great. But we're also talking about small business here. And if all of a sudden we wanted to start Green Village wanted to start offering their price to the people of Hendersonville at that cost without going through the city at all, they could do that. If their competition wanted to do that, they could do that as well. So I've always had issue though about this program that started at the city, goes to a private company where the city has no control over it or anything like that. But we will be receiving phone calls. We're in the middle of a trash issue right now. We've got to figure out what to do with yard waste. And now we're talking about recycling. I would like to get the yard waste and the trash issue taken care of before we ever step off into recycling. Another issue on trash all by itself. And I'm sorry that they happened at the same time, these two issues, but I think we need to clean up the trash issue first and the yard waste, because right now we're not giving out the brown bags for yard clippings and yard waste. I've been asked that today, and I even called to verify, are we going to be supplying any more yard waste bags? And I was told no. So does that mean the citizens need to put their yard waste in a plastic bag, the city pick it up, and then bust that bag over the landfill and throw the plastic bag in the garbage and haul it off? Or exactly how we're going to handle this? Because there's a cost with buying bags. There is a cost to the city. Even the phone calls coming into the city about trash have a cost to it, because we have to have an employee sit there answering the phone. And same thing with recycling. Now, you might not have as many phone calls about recycling, but I'm curious. I've heard there's always a tipping fee if you have a contaminated load when it comes to recycling. Who pays that? Going to be on the city, or is it going to be on Green Village? I heard it goes from $45 a ton to $125 a ton. So I'm not sure how that works out with Green Village on their end of it, but that's why I'm asking those questions. So
I have
I'll
some
listen
comments.
right now. If somebody else would like to answer those questions, thank
Yeah,
you.
let me respond to that, Pat. Thank you. Thank
Excuse
you.
me, Alderman Roberson, go ahead.
Thank you for that concern. And I know that there's a concern but the city does bidding process all the time. I mean, we did the bidding process for the garbage. We do bidding processes for.
But we're in
paving.
control of it.
So
It's our issue though.
yeah, so the bidding process is something that the city has done for a long time. So,
Yes,
and we gave both companies an opportunity to bid, and Green Village by far provided the lowest cost on that. As far as the garbage situation, the reason I'm bringing it forward this time is because the bids expire the middle of, or the third week in August. And we've already bid this out either 2 or 3 times. And it gets to the point where people will quit bidding. If you're opposed to recycling, I can understand that. And you can tell your constituents that, but I'm telling you, of the hundreds of people in your ward that are presently using Green Village, you have the opportunity to save them 56%, money on that bill. And so I just, again, I can't see, I mean, I can only see this as a winning benefit for everyone involved. And I sure hope that we move forward on this. I would like for every committee member, Mr. Chairman, to support this motion, because it is going to BOMA the first week in August for consideration, and it is a resolution, so just one reading. So with that, I'd like to make a motion. Of course, we can make a motion and there can be additional discussion to support. So I'll make a motion that the Public Works Committee approve or recommends this resolution to BOMA for the first week in August, and I so move.
Okay, there's been a proper motion, and is there a second? Okay, a proper motion, and is there a second? Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and second this because I've got some questions for Mr. Roberson. So the chair usually doesn't do this except in these kind of instances. So I'm going to go ahead and second the motion because I have some questions, and I appreciate Alderman Campbell's comments that he made this evening about this. But I wrote this down, and for some reason I was looking at my recycling stuff here, and I just want to confirm this. You said that the bids go away at the third week in August. Is that correct?
Yes, that's what Marshall told me.
Okay, let me write that down. And then you're planning to bring this to the board for a full vote on the first week in August. Is that correct?
Yes, we have to use that calendar in order to stay within the validity of the bids.
Okay, I see. I got you. Well, instead of stopping it here in committee, I think that the full board probably needs to vote on recycling, to be honest with you. And then let me write that down, first week in August. So I'll look that up in the calendar. But yes, I think,
Chairman, how much is a contaminated load? That was one of my questions. Nobody ever answered that. Does the city pay for that, or does Green Village cover that cost?
I'd be happy
Jason,
to answer.
Jason,
Answer too.
hold
I'd
on
be
just a
happy to
second.
answer that.
Hold
Mr.
on,
Chairperson,
Jason, go
I'm sorry
ahead.
for the interruption, but Mr. Bolt has had his hands up for about 10 minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay,
Where's Mr.
hold your
Bolt?
thought, Jason. Hold your thought. I don't see Mr. Bolt.
There he is.
There he is. Okay. Hi,
I'm here.
Mr. Bolt.
Hey, Mark, how are you?
Go ahead with your question or comment.
Yeah, it's fine. It doesn't matter what order, but I appreciate that, Tina. And I missed a little bit of that presentation. I had a little audio issue, a little picture issue, but one of my concerns was that having any kind of a contract that lasted that long, something that was 2 or 3 years would be more beneficial than something that might be 5. From the standpoint of being able to maybe take this widespread to the whole city as opposed to just on a voluntary basis. Eddie, did you address any of that?
Yes, that was in the bid, and the bid would be for 4 years.
Okay.
We had talked about 3 years, and I think Marshall, you had added 1 more year so that it coincides with the trash contract. So it would be for 4 years, but under this Alderman Boat, under
That's
this
logical. Thanks.
under this resolution and under the bid, the payment. So if the board wanted to help subsidize the recycling, the board could help pay for part of the volunteer option. So if the board wanted to drop the price, say in 2 years or 3 years, instead of $10.95 to $5.95, then the board could vote to subsidize that portion. I'm not recommending that now, but I'm just saying there are options available in the bids that allows either the customer to pay for it or a combination of the customer and the city to pay for it.
That answered my question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Alderman Bolton. I apologize. I know you've been there. I didn't see you. And then you flashed up.
No worries.
Okay, buddy. Thank you. Jason, do you want to answer the question that Alderman Campbell had asked you or asked someone to answer?
Yeah, I'll be happy to weigh in. In the 10 years that we've been providing curbside recycling in the 7 counties that we service, we have yet to have a contaminated load. And we've been able to avoid that because we've always used 2 people on every route to ensure that we don't collect materials that will contaminate our trucks. So when we come up on a container that has glass in it, if it has items that are biodegradable, we will stick a note on that container and typically leave that material in the container. It usually takes one time before somebody realizes that those are items that they should not put into their recycling. So fortunately, the past decade, we've never had what would be considered a contaminated load. We are familiar with what Republic had, and they had a lot of contaminated material because they used an automated system where they only grabbed every container, dumped it into a truck, and never saw what was in it. We don't do that. We use a different methodology, and we're able to keep the materials clean.
Okay, thank you,
Thanks for your
Jason.
answer.
Me too.
Alderman Campbell, did that answer your
Yes, it
question?
did. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes, sir, Alderman Campbell. Yes, Ms. Burns, go ahead.
I want to say from my personal experience with being afraid of what Pat was talking about people said that, well, their recycle can would become a trash can. No, it doesn't, because like what Jason just said, they don't get picked up by Green Village. If they have a truck that is a one-armed bandit, which is a truck that comes along and it scoops up the thing, it doesn't look, and it dumps, those could potentially become an issue. And we addressed that issue in California, where the one-armed bandits did not pick up for the first year of the recycling that we did. They had the same system that Jason is using. I have never had any of mine turned down, but as you would expect, I'm probably a pretty good recycler. But the issues that you have concerns with, that comes down to education. That's the committee's role. What we want to be involved in as the committee members is the education of the people that are, I'm not going to call you stubborn, Pat, but I'm going to say the people that have, well, maybe I will call you stubborn, Pat. For the record, I just called Pat Campbell stubborn.
Fair
Okay,
enough.
it's noted. Thank
But
you. All right.
that is the job of the committee, of which I am the appointee for Mark. And Debbie is Eddie Roberson's committee person. And we will be working on education. We're not quitting unless we get disbanded by BOMA. Our intention is to support recycling until we do it right. And please know that I'm supporting what Mr. Roberson is proposing completely. However, I do know what a real recycling in a city looks like. Been there, done that. And the political will doesn't exist yet. Maybe once there's money in the coffers, maybe then we'll have the political will. That's all it takes. That's all it takes. People want to recycle, and you're only listening to the ones that are the naysayers. How many people are already doing it that you're not communicating with? Jason could tell you. So, and hi there, Jonathan. I haven't seen you yet. So, Jonathan, I am supporting this, and I hope that you will too. And same with all of the BOMA members. I'm hoping that you will see we are not going to go away because we get a fish. We want a shark. So we're out here and we intend to do what we can to educate any stubborn people.
Chairman,
Yes,
Thank you. I'm done.
thank you. Thank you, Mary. Jason, go ahead.
I just wanted to mention one last thing, and that is this. This volunteer recycling program has been tried, true, and tested in Springfield. We brought this concept up to the board several years ago. I will tell you, it is the least profitable program that we could possibly engage in. This isn't a big money maker for us. In fact, we will have to do more than twice the work in Hendersonville to make the same money. If you figure that we're reducing our rate 56%, we have to do more than twice the households to make the exact same money. It really isn't, it's a trifecta for the city and for the residents and for the environment. We're investing into the city by doing this. We've invested in the city for 10 years. We're the best at what we do. And we've proven that. And all we're saying is we're here. We placed a bid. This is the third bid we've provided to the city of Hendersonville on recycling in the past 18 months. We're giving it all we can. And this is a good program. It is the beginning of a citywide program. And quite honestly, it makes the city look good to say that you have a recycling program, because right now you don't. You have several different companies operating independently. So we're investing in the city. This is a big price reduction, and we're willing to work twice as hard for the city of Hendersonville and its residents.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Jason. Point well taken on that. Now, does anyone else have anything to say about it? Or Alderman Bolt, did you have something?
Mr. Chairman, could I ask a member of the recycling committee, Mary, a question?
Sure.
Yes, sir, by all means. Alderman Bolt to Mary Burns.
Sure.
Mary, when I was started on the board like 2 years ago, you're in there every week. I was kind of wondering about you, but now I understand the whole thing. So since you're there from day one, and recycling's been important to you, and you've wanted to have it on a, mandatory and from day one, you've obviously thought this through. But on having a volunteer program like this, you're stuck with that for 4 years. That means there's nothing we can roll out to the entire city until that 4 years comes up for the next garbage contract. You've obviously thought that through. You as comfortable as you can be with that?
I have thought that through, and I looked at it very personally. And personally, I'm not going to slow down my recycling. I will still be making the same commitment to this city regarding me as being wholesome and doing it right for the city. I'm hoping that within the 4 years, there will be some changes that can occur that make it more incentives for people to join in. And the education program, I want to do something in the parks at the ball game events where we have recycle bins and talk to parents and pass recycling like I did at the city meeting. Go out into the public and do something for recycling. And there's lots of things that can be done to promote it. I mean, yes, I have thought of your concerns regarding it being a 4-year commitment, and it won't change my personal way of recycling. I'm already top of the line, so.
Yeah, I know it won't change yours, but that means that's a city commitment for 4 more years. But you answered my question. I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you both. Is there any further discussion on this? We'll close it.
Alderman Petrelli and Alderman Woodcock both have their hands up.
Yeah. Who does?
Petrelli and Woodcock.
Okay. Alderman Woodcock and then Alderman Petrelli. Go ahead. Alderman Woodcock.
Thank you, Chairman. My question is for Jason. The Springfield program, is it a voluntary program? And did I hear you correctly?
Yes, that is correct. I mean, we use the term volunteer here. There it's opt-in, but it's the exact same program.
And you've been doing that 10 years?
We've been doing that one 3 years, and we've been in business serving these communities for 10.
I got you. So the communities that you've been doing it for 10 years, which cities are those?
So that's going to be Hendersonville, Gallatin, Springfield, Ridgetop.
Are these city contracts or individual contracts?
Oh, no. I'm sorry. They're individuals and businesses. Of course, we go into Nashville and Smyrna, Laverne, Franklin. We work with a lot of businesses, large and small.
So Springfield is only government contract?
That is correct.
And do you see them going citywide versus opt-in?
They're similar as any city is going through right now, looking at their budgets and trying to determine where to, assign money and what priorities are. It's hard to say if they'll go with a full citywide, but we're there to help them do that. And I think that's really just up to their leadership to determine.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Daryl. Alderman Petrelli.
Thank you, Chairman.
Yes, ma'am.
I just have a question and some statements. So first of all, Ms. Burns, I love you and your passion for recycling. So I say the committee do whatever they need to do to continue educating the community. You don't need us for that. But I guess what I don't understand is I've taken on recycling since the garbage contract changed, because the garbage once a week does not service our needs. So I picked up recycling. But why does the city have to be the middleman in this? Why can't the vendor or a vendor just go and do it? One of the other aldermen already mentioned that we're trying to work through some services in Public Works right now that we need to kind of get tweaked. So, I mean, can't you, Jason, just go ahead out into the community and just do this? Why do we have to be involved at all? I just don't want to see the city getting calls about, hey, my recycling was missed today. I don't want to add another layer of complexity to our public works department when this is something that individuals could do on their own. And I, as you know, I am a proponent of recycling. Thank you.
Can Jason or Mary,
Well, I mean, I can answer from that perspective. We do that. I mean, we're adding customers, probably 40 to 50 every month. And, you know, we have been providing that service since 2010. But over the years, we've been talking about the waste issue. You had a vote to change the waste companies a year and a half ago. You know, reducing the amount of collections from twice per week to once per week. And there was many times conversations about replacing once per week that was being reduced with recycling. That then devolved into no budget for recycling. And I think Alderman Roberson has come forward with a very strong proposal to offer a recycling option through the city of Hendersonville. Personally, we're looking at reducing the rate by greater than 50%. We're not going to do that if we have to only have the small number of customers we have from a percentage basis. If the city wants to get behind it, have a citywide program, help promote recycling, we'll certainly work with the committee to do a lot of education with the committee and with the city to reduce the waste. Right now, the city of Hendersonville has an unbelievable waste problem. And it's only going to get worse when the landfills come back and say, we're going to have more money to put all this waste in the landfills. So
let me stop you there. I understand all of that. I guess what I'm asking is I don't see why you just can't do this initiative on your own or any other company. I greatly appreciate Alderman Roberson bringing this back. I think all of us are proponents of recycling, or most are. Everybody knows it's a necessity. But my concern at this point is adding another level of complexity to our public works department. I wouldn't be surprised if they get calls about recycling bins now, even though that's not our jurisdiction. So I guess what I don't understand is just implement the program and people are either going to come or they're not. I mean, the city's spending public works time and money to educate people. I mean, that's why we have a recycling committee. They can do that. So can you just start the program, I guess is my question. Can you just make the offer of the discounted rate for how many people sign up and then just go from there and keep it separate from the city at this point?
We didn't approach the city with this proposal. The city approached us with the proposal. So this proposal is coming from the city. You're asking us can we just reduce our rate by greater than 50% and continue on? And quite honestly, that provides a great reduction to the city, and you know, it's difficult enough to operate on the margins we have. So we're willing to do this for the city, but if we're doing it independently, we are at the price that we're at.
Okay, and so if this did not pass BOMA, would you still consider offering this to residents in town?
We will certainly continue to offer our services.
No, at a discounted rate for the more people that sign up for recycling.
I don't know how we could, because there's no increase in volume and no support from the city.
Okay, thank you.
all right, thank you, Alderman Petrelli, and thank you, Jason, for it. If there's no other discussion on this right now, I just have one question to ask to Alderman Roberson, then I've got a comment about it, and then we'll be ready to vote, I think. Alderman Roberson, when are you expecting this again to go to the full board? If it passes this evening, when would you expect it? Well, even if it does not pass tonight, you are still reserved the right to bring it to a full board meeting. So want to let you know that in case you had forgotten. Sometimes even believe it or not, I even forget some of those things when I come up. I go, oh yeah, I can still bring that. So my question is, when are you anticipating again bringing this to a full board for discussion?
It would be at the August 11th BOMA meeting.
Let me write that down.
Because the bids expire that next week.
Right, okay. And my final comment is this, is that I appreciate Alderman Campbell's comments tonight and their point well taken. And I would suggest, and I'm sure Alderman Campbell will talk about this at a full board meeting if it makes it or if it's necessary. In fact, I'll probably remind him and encourage him to do so because it was great questions that he brought. Everybody has brought great questions and comments tonight, and I appreciate them. But I would be remiss if I did not support recycling on this issue. I think the full board needs to talk about it and discuss it, regardless of how all of us feel. It just needs to be spoken about at a full board meeting. So I'm going to vote to go ahead and move this on to the full board for the August 11th meeting. I think Alderman Roberson, you've once again for our committee, I know we get a lot of questions about comments about garbage and refuse and all that, but you've done a good job this evening. You've convinced me. Your points were well taken, and I look forward to voting to carry this on to the board. Is there any further discussion on that, on this discussion about recycling this evening from any of the aldermen that have come to our meeting? Hearing none, is everybody ready to vote? Alderman Campbell, do you have any other comments about it at all?
You're muted.
Sorry about that. I forgot to mute myself. No, not at this time. I don't have any other comments.
All right, thank you very much. All right, there's been a proper motion to move this on to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen. Is there, hearing no further discussion, we're ready to vote. When all in favor signify by saying aye when I call your name, and all opposed, no. Alderman Campbell.
I will support it to move to Boma. Aye.
And Alderman Roberson.
Ah, thank you.
Yes, sir. And the chair votes aye. So it is passed unanimously to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen to discuss further about the recycling in Hendersonville. So we're on to the next thing now. And I don't even have, Marshall, you might pull up the agenda for me. I can count the 3, but I can't count to 4. So I don't know what that is. I graduated from Tennessee College. What can I say?
We have the, again, if you want to rearrange, you can, but obviously
Yes.
the next item is the neighborhood traffic calming program.
Yeah, let's go ahead in that, and then we'll get to some of these that are real ones that need to be passed, because there's some other issues under the business that we need to talk about, and that is the sidewalks in our community with Walnut Trace and Robin Hood Circle areas that need to be discussed. But I do want to get some of the stuff that has been on our agenda for quite some time. So we'll go, sir.
I was gonna say, we have about 10, it looks like, and Tina can correct me if I'm wrong, we have about 10 or 15 minutes left.
Okay, this will be, this pretty good. This will work out real well, actually. Let's go ahead with it, and then we'll wind up with the sidewalk. And then we'll probably be done for this evening. Let's go ahead with the neighborhood traffic calming program.
Miss Sarah, and you can, Tina, you can scroll to that slide, but Miss Sarah Locke, our city traffic engineer, has gone through and developed this program that you kind of have before you. It's been to the Traffic and Parking Committee. And they've gone through the process to review this. And
Mr. Chairman, may I make a motion, please?
You can try, certainly.
Okay, there's a couple of items on the agenda. One is the Country Hills resolution. There's also there's 3 resolutions that I think that we need to move. I'm afraid we're going to run out of time.
I would second that motion.
Those need to be, I think, bumped up before the traffic. Right. Not trying to.
I got it. Hold on just a second. We'll do it. Get back to the Marshall. Get back to the thing. There may be a move to group and pass. You all don't want to do that. We can do that. because you made the motion. There's been a proper second. We're discussing it right now
Go back to
quickly.
the agenda for a second.
Yeah, just get back to the agenda.
What page number are you looking for,
It's
Marshall?
the first page.
Oh.
What we need, and so we need about 2 good hours
I know.
in Public Works. I'm telling you.
And tell you, if you want to start with the resolution 2020-39, and Andy can speak more to this, apply for a Blue Cross Blue Shield of Tennessee Foundation Healthy Places Program grant.
So moved.
Okay, there's been a proper motion. The second, any further discussion? Hearing none. Is everybody ready to vote? All right, all in favor, signify aye or nay when I call your name to move those 2 resolutions up. Alderman Campbell
Aye.
and Alderman Roberson.
Aye.
The chair votes aye, passes unanimously. Let's move the Blue Cross Blue Shield for Tennessee resolution up. Alderman, I mean, why do I call him Alderman every time? He's our Parks Director now.
Former alderman.
I guess that's it. I don't know. He may not even be here.
He is.
He's here.
Oh,
Mr.
there he
Chairman.
is. I love that picture behind you, brother. It breaks my heart, but yeah. Andy, go ahead, bud.
Am I speaking towards the grant resolutions?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, that's a grant for us to apply for, a $750,000 grant to construct part of the master plan at the Beatty Farm property.
So moved.
Second.
Way to go, guys. There's been a proper motion in a second. Is there any further discussion on that? Hearing none. Does anybody need the motion repeated? Hearing none. Okay. All in favor will signify by saying aye or no when I call your name. Alderman Campbell.
Aye.
Alderman Roberson.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye himself. So that resolution passes on to the, where is that going now, Andy? Does that go back to the board or to finance?
It'll go to both.
Okay.
Be at the board in 2 weeks.
All right. It'll be at the board in 2 weeks. So we've recommended approval. And then the resolution for, is it 2020-45?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm assuming that is Andy.
No, this is for me,
Oh,
Mark.
okay. All right. Marshall, go ahead.
This is the moving $30,000 out of assets category into the golf course HVAC funding. We moved the reason the project cost a little bit more than anticipated. We moved the air conditioning units out of the attic into the downstairs.
Right.
And as a result of that process of doing that, it did cost a little bit more. So we're not increasing it's really not amending the budget to increase it, but it's simply just moving money around within the budget to accommodate that change. And so I'm just requesting $30,000 be moved out of the assets category into the HVAC funding.
All right. For the golf course funding line okay. So we need a motion.
Moved.
Second.
And there's been a motion and a proper second. Is there any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none. Is everybody ready to vote? Does anybody need the motion repeated? All in favor signify by saying aye or no when I call your name. Alderman Campbell.
Aye.
Alderman Roberson.
Aye.
Chair votes aye itself. It passes unanimously. Does this go just to the
It's
full
on
board?
finance. It's on finance committee tonight.
Okay, good. All right. Well done. Good. Okay, we got those 2 done, right? So we're all right. We've got, let's see, how much time do we have left, Marshall?
There's one more resolution.
Oh, I'm sorry.
2020-44.
Oh, yes, right in front of me. I apologize. Resolution 2020-44 authorizing the issuance of a payment of the interfund loan not to exceed $175,000. And who is this with?
I'm a sponsor along with Alderman Hayes. And if
Okay.
it's okay, I've done a lot of talking tonight. I would like for Alderman Hayes to address this, and then I'll back clean up if there's any additional comments on this resolution. If Mr. Chair, if you would recognize Alderman Hayes.
Alderman Hayes?
Yes,
Are you
sir.
with
Thank
us?
you. Thank you, Chairman. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, loud and clear, brother.
All righty. Appreciate all of you so much in listening to our request for a resolution to be approved. It's for the Country Hills Golf Course. I just want to remind those of you that may not know that this land was originally gifted to the city by Conway Twitty. It's approximately 130 acres, and it is part of our Parks Department. It opened officially as a golf course in 1990. It includes an 18-hole golf course, the driving range, the greens, the lakes and streams, the golf cart paths. It includes a clubhouse, also dining room, a store, a golf store. There's also the maintenance building or a barn where a lot of the equipment is kept, and it's just a tremendous asset. The other things that are kept there in that maintenance area are the carts. There are approximately 72 carts in there right now. Golf Management Group is the name of the group that has been great stewards over these past few years. Lynn Ray is on the call today. I see you there, Lynn. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your team being such great stewards of our city's asset. Thank you. You all have done a great job, you and your managers. The facility, and this is the thing I really pat all those guys on the back for, the facility is self-sufficient, Mr. Chairman, in its operational cost. It is the only park facility out of all of our parks that can claim that operational being sufficient there. Through operational monies that come in from rounds being played, as well as the cart rentals, there's enough to pay for all of their operational costs. Sometimes during the year when the rounds are really slow, it's true that our city will allow them to borrow some money, but they pay that back. And they've got a really good record in the last few years of always paying back those operational costs. There is, and as we just saw tonight, there are occasions where the city provides some finances to help cover capital costs, like for example, the HVAC system. So we're very grateful for that. One of my interests in this golf course is just that it's a beautiful park facility right in the middle of Ward 5. So if you've never played there, I would really want to encourage you to come and play. But let me get through this. The investment that we're asking you to make is $175,000 in golf carts. The current carts are 7 years old. Most golf courses replace their carts on a 5-year cycle. So we've gotten an additional 2 years, more than most, and they were paid off in 5 years. So that was really great. Just to give you an idea about a little more on the return on investment, Mr. Chairman, whenever these carts, once they're paid off, the ROI per year coming back to our city, it goes from $60,000 a year we're making, even when the carts are being paid for, to the last 2 years, once they had already been paid off, $90,000 a year is added to our city's coffers from the rental of those carts. So it's just got a great ROI. What's the concern? Why do we need to replace them? Well, initially it was more aesthetics, torn seats, duct tape on the seats, and getting a little long in the tooth. But now, in particular, if you've ever been on some of those golf cart paths, they're very steep, they're oftentimes wet, and we're just concerned safety-wise, even possibly liability-wise, ball tires, making sure that the brakes are good and keeping up with all the maintenance issues. We're concerned that there'll be a diminishing return if we spend too much more on just the maintenance. I'm almost done. So the request for the loan is up to $175,000. That should be enough. We'll put out an RFP as a city, but that should be enough to get 72 units, carts. Just to give you a little bit more idea, that breaks down, if you divide 72 carts into $175,000, that's approximately $2,430 per cart. The reason I mention that is these carts are, as new carts, are worth about $4,500 each, but the trade-in of $2,070 brings it down. So we're getting a great trade-in. Because this is a good investment, the group even looked at possibly borrowing the money. And I'd like to thank right now Robert Manning. He suggested that rather than the company going out and renting or paying interest to another company for a loan, it would be better to do this as an inter-city loan between our finance department and the course. I appreciate Alderman Robertson. He is on the commission. Chris is also the chairman. Chris Maynard, if y'all don't know him, he's a great guy, and he's leading the commission now. I guess I would just ask, do you have any questions right now?
All right. Do any of the committee members have any questions on this at all?
Let me, Mr. Chairman, I've put something on the screen that I have prepared. And I'm not going to repeat what Alderman Hayes has said, but I would like for you to look at the last section. Golf carts are a prudent investment. I'm glad to report that the demand for Country Hills is reaching a 7 to 8 year high. One of the bullet points I've stated is that for May, June, and July, we've had 8,714 rounds played at Country Hills. So Country Hills is a very popular destination for recreation for our city residents. Also, the Golf Commission has recently increased the fees that people pay to play golf, including the cart fees, in anticipation of raising sufficient money to make sure that the city is paid back. The Country Hills has an excellent credit rating with the city. Every time it's had to receive a loan, they have paid it back in full by the due date. And so I think that, as Alderman Hayes has said, this is a prudent investment. It's a necessary investment. And Country Hills is a recreational gem for the city. So with that, I know we're running short of time. I will move approval of the resolution
Second.
to move forward.
Okay, thank you very much. There's been a proper motion and a proper second. Any further discussion? I will support this resolution, and we'll discuss it again at the board level, I'm sure. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none. Is everybody ready to vote? Does anybody need the motion repeated? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye when I call your name. Alderman Campbell.
Aye.
All right. Alderman Robertson.
Aye.
And Alderman, the chair votes aye. And we'll move it on to where it needs to go. I guess I'm assuming finance. Is that correct? Does anybody know?
Yes, it's on finance for tonight.
Finance, and is it on tonight?
Yes.
Okay, good. So it's moved, it's past Public Works, and we're on now. We've got about 6 minutes, I think. Is that, no?
We're out of time.
All right, all right, I'll tell you what we're gonna do. There are some sidewalks that need to be discussed. Alderman Petrelli, I recognize, do you want to have a few moments to talk about this, and then we got to go? But I've got an idea where we can meet again with the Public Works commit our department, and we'll talk. We'll get it, because we're probably going to have to get an idea how much it's going to cost.
Thank you,
Go
Chairman.
ahead,
Yeah.
Alderman.
If we could revisit it again at a next meeting, if we could tap
Yes,
it on
ma'am.
with something, that would be great. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Alderman Petrelli. We will do that. And I'll tell you what we'll do. Just for you, just for you, Alderman Petrelli, we will put it first on the agenda. How's that sound?
Perfect.
Good?
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. We'll do that. All right, we'll put that as the first agenda item on our next committee. Is there anyone that has any closing moments or anything you want to say?
Do we want to adjourn or do you want to defer the meeting to another time? Take it back
No,
up.
we're good. We'll just put it on the agenda and run it through like that. I don't think there's any deferrals that need to be done. I do, however, want to thank everybody tonight. Everybody handled themselves so well in this committee and you continue to do that. And I'm just so appreciative of it. Other than that, I guess we'll see each other in about 30 minutes or so, or an hour. What time's our meeting start, Marshall?
6:30.
6:30 for the Board of Mayor and Alderman, correct?
Board of Mayor and Alderman, that's right.
I'll see you guys in 30. I need a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
All right. Eddie, you want to second it?
Second.
Thank you, sir. There's been a proper motion and a proper second. We've moved to adjourn for this meeting, and we'll see you guys in about 30 minutes or so.